All right, let's get started today. This week is going to be kind of a different week than what we've been doing. We're going to do the midterm exam and a midterm project this week. Probably going to be a little bit busier week than some. We'll see. Depends on how we're at here. So when are things doing? What's required? So we'll take the midterm exam, the midterm quiz in class on Friday here. So just come to class on Friday and you can take the midterm quiz. So we'll spend some time this week reviewing and talking about that for this. So that's on Friday here. And then we will work on a midterm project, which is what's often in mobile CSP is called the create task, where you will create an app here. And that'll be due a week from today. We'll share the apps with each other a week from today in this. So that's our two main things we have to do this week. Take the midterm exam on Friday and then have an app ready to share here. Now, we generally do this midterm project is generally set up to do on teams. So one of the goals today is to break you up into pairs and so have you start talking about the app and getting the app started here. And then the second half of class today, we'll try to get you set up and working with pairs on the app there. If you've already started the app and you did the app already, talk to me and we won't assign you to a pair. So you can just do it as well there. So we'll see how that works. The other thing we'll mention is, well, let's talk about reviewing for the midterm here and how you might want to do this. Now, for the midterm exam, I'm going to click on this link. It tells us a little bit more about. I'll just warn you, Brightspace is really slow today. It seems to be getting slower and slower. I don't know what is doing there, but
everything's slow. Right?
Is it all network slow?
Pretty much.
Okay. I've only been on Brightspace. I know that's slow. I tried to open up my tabs ahead of time, but I didn't do this one. So. Okay, so the exam will be 17 multiple choice questions, mainly on terms. So there'll be some coding. You won't have to, we won't have you do block coding, but we might show you a block or two and ask you a question, a multiple choice question about it there. There are some matching questions and a couple multiple select ones where you can select or do multiple things in it. So it's mainly focused on terminology that we've covered so far and some on again, a little bit on some of the code or code blocks that we've talked about here. It's worth, so the exam's worth 50 points. So it's a pretty big exam, but the actual create this task here, the project you'll work on is also worth 50 points. We'll do two of those here. And so each one is worth 50 points each also. So the app is worth as much as the exam this week.
Will the exam be like open book or?
No, it'll be closed book and we'll take it in class here. So the goal is to work on these terms ahead of time and work on some stuff. So a couple things you can do there. So there isn't much of a description on mobile CSP. If you go into mobile CSP, it's just tacked on to the end of chapter 4. There's this AP create task here. And we've actually followed that a little bit on an earlier assignment. We won't necessarily follow that here. And then there's the midterm, and they just talk about that. So they really don't have much there. But I do suggest you look at the study guide here. So if you go to the midterm study guide, it includes the vocabulary. So if you go like the unit, at the start of each unit here, so if I just go to unit 1, unit 3 overview, it will have all the terms in that unit here. And if you go over each term, it'll tell you what that term is.
Or what's the study guide?
So the study guide is just here in the midterm one. And then again, that'll just link you to the vocab. So again, and if I in Mobile CSP, I can just switch to, if I go to, let's go to the overview, 2.1. If I want to do the overview of 2.1, that'll have all the terminology from that for this. So that's a good thing to review. And we'll spend some time on Wednesday. I think Wednesday we'll do Jeopardy a little bit here. I haven't checked if this link will work. Yeah, but it used to work. If not, I'll get a Jeopardy game and we'll do that as a fun review for this. So that can help review some of the vocab. The other thing I suggest, is the self-check exercises. I was supposed to be grading the self-check exercises after every unit, and I haven't been doing that. So I finally got caught up to do that there. And you can get, in each unit, you can get up to 10 points in the self-check exercise. There's not a due date for these because we want you to do them during the review, often during this review time, like this week, and also during the final exam review period. So you have until December 15th or whatever to do the self-check. So you can do them at any point here. But this is a good point. This is a perfect point to do the self-checks. That's why I went in and made sure we graded them. Some of you have been doing the self-checks, and that's just fine. But some of you, a fair amount, haven't been doing them there. So I've updated it. You don't have to do them all for each unit. You have to do 2/3, 66%, 2/3 of them in each unit. So if you're going through a self-check and I don't want to do that, you can skip over some of the self-check exercises. Just so, you should do 2 out of every 3, basically, when you're doing that. And I'll update that. So again, you should be looking at the self-check exercise. If you go into your grades, you should see how many points you have for the self-checks now. And I'll update that later on this week again. And then I'll probably update that next week. And then maybe every couple weeks. It's not a very automated process, so it takes me a little while to update that because I have to go into the mobile CSP, calculate those grades, and then bring them over to a Brightspace. Yeah, and you can do it. And then again, I will update. I'll do the final update after the final exam in December. So when the final exam happens in December, I'll go through the whole thing again and update all your self-checks. So if you want to wait until December, till after the final and then just sit down and spend, a couple hours doing them, you could technically get all your points then. Okay?
Is there a self-check for unit 1?
There is no self-check for unit 1. Only unit 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, so if you go to these units, so let's say I go to unit 4. When you look through this, you go to one of these chapters, one of these lessons, you can scroll down and look at the self-check stuff and work through that there. Now, if you've done some of these before, they'll tell you that one problem it has is that it doesn't just necessarily remember if you've done these code ones before. So like define a procedure named reset score that sets the global variable score to 100. So if I do that, and I want to, I want to set the global variable to 100. So I can do this, It'll say it's correct. But next time you do this again, it won't necessarily remember it on some of these that are the coding ones. It'll mark it, so I'll see that it's done, but it won't necessarily mark it there. On other ones, like, let me see, where like there's these short answers or these multiple choice ones, I will see those, and it will remember that you've done those here for this. So you can try those out. And again, you do have to be logged in. I think to use this, you've got to be logged in. So make sure you're logged in into your account. And I think you have to see these. Any questions on the self-checks? Okay. So I think I'm going to get you started on talk a little bit about the project and try to get you paired up for the project here. So for the project, you want to think about creating an app similar to what we've done in the assignments, but kind of modified, especially if you can kind of think of some of the times where we've modified an assignment and done it. Like we'd started with the soundboard app, the Martin Luther King soundboard app, and then we modified and we put in, I think we did Anishinaabe sounds in there. But again, we modified it there. That's kind of the project. You want to do something. It can be basically similar to an assignment, but something where you bring in your own maybe pictures or ideas or stuff like that for it. It doesn't have to be the soundboard app. It can be any of the other apps that we've worked on there. It has to have some requirements, has to have at least one list or a collection there for it. And it has to have at least one procedure and then one algorithm that has some code that maybe has an if then or a loop or something more complex, some part of, I guess I would look at some code that would have maybe, like 4 blocks or, something that's not just, just the same, 3 blocks set this color or do something that would have, and most of the ones we've done have had at least one block there that's been a little more complicated for this here. So that's what we're going to have you do. We're going to set you up in teams. We want you to put in your teams here. Just put in your name of that. What I want to do today is to figure out, if best we can, teams. You can self-select teams. So I'll give you about 5 minutes to see if you want to self-select teams if you want. If you don't want to self-select teams, I will teacher select team. I don't know what that term is. Teacher select teams. I will assign teams if you want also. So why don't you spend some time thinking about that and listing your teams and who you want to work with there. Sound good? So I'll give you about 5 minutes to plan out teams. A good thing as far as brainstorming for the app is to look back at the apps we've done so far and kind of look through that. You might want to just open up App Inventor and see what apps you have there, or go through the these and look. So, kind of remind yourself, because you can't do everything. You can try out some of the new blocks. You can certainly do new blocks and stuff, but again, we don't have that much time this week. You want to keep things relatively simple and straightforward for this project. Don't want to go overboard or anything like that, I would suggest. So yeah, kind of look back. We did the lights off. We did whack-a-mole basically with the lights off and sprites. So you can put sprites on it. We did the coin flipping. some random numbers sort of stuff. We did the dream, I have a dream, so the soundboard and the app there. So we've done that. We've done the paint pot, so you can paint, you can draw on a canvas sort of stuff. So remember that. We did some stuff with maps, so a list and put things on a map for that. So kind of those are some of the areas we've done so far. So kind of think of that. It's good to kind of think of if you're going to make an app, to why you're going to make this app besides Tom's making us make an app. So you might want to think of some sort of way you could, why would people want to use this app? Can you make people's lives better? Can you make the world better? Can you solve a problem that's out there or help solve the problem, in some ways? Can you educate people? Can we kind of work with people, change their behaviors a little bit? Can you, what can you do with this app there? So again, we can't do a whole lot. Keep the apps fairly simple.
On Wednesday, are we gonna be, is that gonna be like a work day?
Yeah, Wednesday will be, I think we'll do Jeopardy for like 20 minutes and then we'll do a work day. So Wednesday will be about 20 minutes of Jeopardy, terms and then work day. So, and again, it's not due till a week from today, Monday.